I'm going to pop this at the beginning of the Peter video, the Peter John video. When you accuse somebody of being that type of person, John, because I know you watch videos about you, it isn't just funny like you seem to think it is. It isn't, oh, I'm going to get my revenge. This is life-ruining accusations, especially when somebody is in a position where they used to deal with children. Now, Peter doesn't do counselling anymore, but that's not the point. The fact that John thought it was a good idea to throw out this accusation, and it's not one he's shy of throwing out, and he throws it out at a lot of people. John, grow up, and Peter, I'm on your side. Hi, hello everyone. Sorry, I am still a bit full of a cold, and I apologise. But it's time for proper videos again. After the 20th of next month, I'll no longer be getting paid for videos, but I will still be uploading and being here for you guys. Also, hi to the new subscribers that Peter sent over. Hi. This is the video I told Peter about. I hope you enjoy it. This is in defence of Peter and several other people, one of which I really need to do an apology to. But this is a video I've been promising for a while, and it goes through the issues of John Kuckian, or as I like to call him, he who shall not be named. Very apt considering I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Okay, he's not as bad as Voldemort, but still. I'm getting to the point where I am fed up with talking about this guy, and there are lots of things that have happened that really, really irk me. And to say he's a British YouTuber, and so am I, it really, really... So, I have 2 pages of notes here. I also have some screen grabs on my phone from his latest video. Now, those that aren't aware, just before Christmas, literally just before Christmas Day, a couple of days before Christmas, John posted a video calling Peter Monn all sorts of nasty names. Then, he did one a couple, not long ago, on his main channel, doing the exact same. And also talking about another gentleman. Now, I'm not fully aware of the issues where it comes to the Thomas Hilbert side, but I am aware he's not happy. He doesn't agree with what John's saying. Apparently he's like, nope, never happened, doesn't exist. John's living in a fantasy world, and he's suing, and I think Peter is as well, which I completely agree with them. Now, let's talk about John's evidence, and I use the quotation evidence for a reason. I have a degree in forensic science and criminology. I studied for 3 years at Preston University, University of Central Lancashire, studying everything you could know about evidence, from DNA to digital to all sorts of evidence. And I can tell you, if I was working the case and John gave me the evidence that he gave me, it'd be useless. It would be completely useless. I can tell you that for nothing now. Especially considering John's history of falsifying evidence for his channel. Something as serious as this. Right, so his evidence. The text messages and conversations can be faked through several different ways. There's Photoshop, which John has proved that he is quite apt at. He photoshopped a tweet from Jeffree Star, making it look like Jeffree was being racist when the tweet never existed. But apparently it did, and he was the only one to grab it, even though there's a tweet with the exact same date and time but it was a completely different tweet. Apps you can use to falsify text messages quite easily. Numerous people have been caught out where they've there's an episode of Dr. Phil where a girl was saying that she was getting harassing text messages from a teacher. The teacher lost the job, and then it turns out that the kid was actually texting herself using an app, and they figured it out through the language. Also, you can do it by changing a contact on your phone and getting them to text you a certain type of conversation. Also, on some of the conversations, he never shows the date. On one of them, if I can find the screen grab, I think I can remember which video it's in. You can see a little bit of text above, but it's literally just a little bit of the bottom of the text, and nobody can see what time or date that it's from. But from what I could see, I think it was from last year, but John's trying to say it's from 2016, but it didn't look like that to me, but I could be wrong. But why cut it off? Because that would prove what timescale had actually happened. But again, the language in those messages doesn't fit with Peter at all. The words that are in those text messages are not words that Peter uses. Peter doesn't use the word baby, he uses the word babe. And then they're also using this text because apparently he said, I'm the oldest. His tag for his Tumblr was something along the lines of I'm the oldest drama channel on YouTube or something. And then he put another thing on saying something called me daddy. And he's like, yeah, it's a joke. And he's not pointed at anybody, it's just a joke. It's like how people call Julian from Jenna and Julian daddy. And they do it with lots of different YouTubers. And they do it with Daz. Daz doesn't understand it, but they do it with Daz. And it's just a colloquial saying. It's not a... It's not as in a sexual sense. It's just in, can I call you daddy type of thing. To some people it might be, but not everybody. So John's literally just twisted that completely out of context. But when you show a text conversation and you show screen grabs, or you show the conversation but you don't show the date, you only show the time, then that's very suspicious. And also, like I said, the language is off. The language is completely off. And the language in those messages are very similar to language in the Instagram messages that John received from two people who said that they had also been victimised by Peter. When we don't know who they are, apparently they want to stay anonymous. We don't know if they ever existed. Also, what made me a little bit suspicious is John said, I was at such and such place all day because check my Snapchat, my Instagram, because it's all over there. It's like, yeah, but why say that as if it's got a major part of importance if there's a reason why you need to have an alibi of sorts, when it's so easily changeable and fakeable. And like I said, the language in it is extremely similar to the language that's used in the fake conversations between John and Peter that doesn't match Peter's conversation. And although I haven't, looked at it, I would go as far as to saying that probably the language in it is probably more British English than American English. And for those that don't know, although we both speak the same language, the spelling and the punctuation is different. So, even on just simple words like colour, America doesn't have a U in it, British, we have a U in it. Things like that. And like I say, I haven't looked up that close, but from what I have seen of it, it is literally, it's very, very similar to the ones that everybody's already debunked. Also, one of the conversations he showed in his first video, the person that the conversation was apparently from, has actually turned around and said, I don't know what you're on about. I've never contacted you, nothing like that's ever happened, because that person was actually somebody that Peter had counselled. So, right, let's go on to why he said he didn't go to the authorities. Then I'll go on to the fact that this is the first time, go on to Tumblr and a few other things. Right, he said initially he said he didn't go to the authorities because he's based in the UK, not in the US, and he didn't know who to go to. Now, I could probably type in on my phone where to report somebody, a case of an endangered child or suspected abuse in the state of Texas. You don't need to know the county they live in, you just need to know the state, and then they can figure it out from there. Now, that's a quick Google search, and one of several people, and I will be linking these videos in a playlist for you. What she did, she's based in America, and what she did, she went online and she actually typed in where to report child endangerment in the UK, and she got the website up within seconds. And it's easy to do that the other way around. Yeah, granted, in America it is a bit more complicated because you've got your states and your counties, but I think it's a bigger place, but it's still something that's quite easily doable, and John literally just needed to type it in and he'd have got the answer. And it's a known where to go to. And then his second excuse was that he'd had issues with the police in the past, and because he has those issues, you can't take those issues away from him, and those issues are what cause him not to trust the police. Right, obviously I'm on the opposite side of that. I do trust the police, I've worked with the police, I've been taught by police officers, I trust the police. In some cases, they aren't exactly the best. I am aware of that. Trust me, I am aware of that. But when it comes to the engagement of a child, there are several different organisations you can go to, not just the one. Here in the UK, we have the police. We also have social services, which is the same as Children and Family Services in America, or DCFS. Then we have the NSPCC, and then there are several other places like Bernardo's and things like that you can go to and say, this is going on, don't know what to do, don't know, should I get involved? We have multiple different organisations that you can go to, and it'll be the same in America. You don't have to go to the police. There are other departments that handle this. The main department isn't even related to the police. But he's like, going, I didn't go to the police because I've got an issue with the police. And it's like, so 1 minute you're saying you didn't go to the police because you didn't know who to go to. Then you're saying because you have issues with the police, that's why you didn't go to the police. But also people that were your subscribers who actually said to you, I'm a mandated reporter, can I have more details? And I will report it because they have to. He then blocked them. What? A mandated reporter is somebody who's in a position of authority. And that position of authority means that if they see a child is in danger from any type of abuse, it is reported. That's the whole point of their job. They have to. And he just blocked them. Wow. That is extremely suspicious for me. He also knows that if he'd have gone to the police with what he had, he'd be laughed out of the station. Tumblr and a few messages, and when I say messages I use that term very lightly, are easily backtraceable. Although there isn't a front of house view of Peter's Tumblr, just using John's video, they would then be able to search for similar pictures and then find out if some of the people were of age. One of the pictures that he's saying is of a child that's getting a blindfold put on and is slightly sketchy. If that's a child, why the hell's he got so many tattoos? And also, there is a distinct chance that he would have been arrested for one of two things if he'd have gone to a police station here in the UK. Number one would be wasting police time. The second is, here in the UK we have extremely strict rules on what you can and can't say. We don't have a freedom of speech in this country, technically. You aren't allowed to say a lot, but there are certain things you can't say unless you have the evidence to back it up. And in this instance, John doesn't have the evidence to back it up. He's saying that Peter's this, and this, but there's no evidence to back it up. Anyway. And that is a crime. The reason why we have that law is because the press in this country would be calling people in positions of power and celebrities and things like that something that they are not, and then obviously it was then colour everybody's opinion of them, and that's where the law came from. So he would have been arrested for that law, and that's why when Peter says what John has said is actually committing offence here in the UK, which is where John is based. So this isn't the first time that John has said these things about people. He said it about Peter previously, like 16 months ago. And it was horrible at that point, but Peter, John just said it, he didn't fabricate anything at that point. He didn't show this evidence that wasn't actually evidence, and he said it about Laura Lee. If I can find, I think I have a screenshot of this one. If I can find the screenshot, I'll pop it in here, of where he says that she groomed him for months. Said that he for the tea protected Thomas Halbert, which I'll get into in a minute, and then Sanders Kennedy, because of the whole thing that happened with Nick Snyder. Now, this is a favourite thing of John's to do. It's that word is one word he likes to call people, and it's something he throws out at every corner, and it's annoying, and it's aggravating, and for him to say such and such body is grooming such and such body. Number one, have you got any proof? Number two, are you so demented as to think that Laura Lee, a very busy woman, has got the time or even has the desire to groom John, who is seen as nothing but a annoyance, is seen as nothing as more than that drama channel that just makes up shit. Alright, we'll get on to Tumblr. One of John's main point of evidence was Peter's Tumblr. Right, first of all, it was Peter's. but John had made it look a lot worse than it was. First of all, Tumblr, like Twitter and several other platforms including Reddit, have very strict rules of what you can and cannot post. While they do allow things of a suggestive nature, or of a suggestive type, if there is even a sniff of them being underage, then they're not allowed on the platform. It's that simple. And for John to turn around and say, well, this person's half naked and they look 16. As long as, and it's suggestive, most of the pictures on the Tumblr that I saw, that you could actually see what was going on, were of people of age. And then he was also saying, and then he said, well, take that out of the equation. It's still bad to have things of suggestive nature next to things with kids. Really, John? And that's his Tumblr, where there is literally a porn picture here and then there's a picture of a baby here. Twice. So, and not only that, is some of the photos, John didn't show any context to, he just showed the photos. And magically, John's just, yes, and then he said, well, he said in his more recent video, well, if there wasn't anything wrong with the Tumblr, why did he delete it? Because everybody was saying, oh, that person's underage when they weren't. Or it wasn't of a suggestive nature. If you'd have seen what accompanied it, which John never showed up with any of the pictures. Also, because he was getting threats. He was getting some of the nastiest threats. The nastiest threats I've ever received are of John fans. End of. And I'm saying nasty. I have a video on that. And I will pop it up in the iCard for you, because it's a doozy. Now, when all this kicked off, John's fan base, which is like 300,000, went to Peter and started harassing Peter. And then John's like, you know, I didn't send them. No, but you know for a fact, because it happened with Here for the Tea. You said what you said in the video, and then everybody went for her, and she had to come off social media for 2 weeks. When you have a large fan base, you have to be careful what you say and what you do. And even people, this is a conversation I've sort of had, in a way, with Joy, where I said to Joy, look, you need to stop your fans because of what they're doing. And she's like, I can't control them. It's like, no, but look at this video that one of your fans is doing in protection of you that harassed one of my friends. You know, you have to be careful when you have a fan base. And especially when it's a fan base like John's, where they believe everything that comes out of his mouth, which is dangerous in the first place. I always say to people, when you come to my video, I'm going to give you information and it's going to be coloured slightly with my opinion. I suggest you go off and research yourself and see whether or not you come to the same opinion I do. That's completely up to everybody. And whether you have the same opinion I do, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I don't want people to just take what I say as gospel. I want people to take what I say, research it, and then make up their own opinion. Not like John, who just like, believe me, you don't want to look this up. It's not nice. It's like, bollocks. None of that is. A blog is a collection of things that you're into or things that you want to share or things like that. And sometimes, especially when you're an adult, there will be things of a suggestive or adult nature on there That is the thing with Tumblr. When it comes to Tumblr, there is adult content on there, just like there is on Twitter. But like I say, is they're saying, well, why did you delete it then? Or why did you delete yours then? Because what you called him out for doing, you had to. He's also, in between releasing the 2 different videos, he has asked his subscribers if he could borrow one of them's Amazon Prime login. But the only problem with that is if you give him your login, he can then order something and you pay for it. Because Amazon Prime and Amazon is the same login. And he also wanted money for a camera. What? Because he was offline for a few weeks. That was your own making, John. Saying he's been harassed for a year with no evidence. Saying this guy's done loads and loads of videos on him. Right. Peter did a video responding to the allegations that happened like 16 months ago. He did a video responding to those. Then he didn't do a video until summer and he did a 2-part video. And then he didn't do any videos again until November, until the cosmetics launch. And it was the one with the cosmetics launch because all the other videos had been respectful. They'd been trying not to push John's buttons, essentially. They were like polite and all that. And then even with the cosmetics launch, he was polite. And then John basically just went after him. And then obviously, as a result, Peter did some videos after that. But he's not talking about it anymore, which I fully understand. Because there is probably stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. Which I completely agree with him doing. Because somebody needs to teach this brat a lesson. And when I say brat, I mean a brat. And there's no evidence of him harassing him. Saying he's been messaging him and stuff. There's no evidence. There's nothing. Nada, nothing. Also, some of his evidence, like the text messages, can always be backtracked. And if they are from Peter, which I don't think they are, Peter can get in touch with his service provider and say, right, this is the phone number or whatever. Can you print off all the messages that I've sent to that phone number and that I've received from that phone number and show them? Which I don't think John quite understands that can happen. And it's quite easy to do because police have been doing it for years. Also, James Charles and Charles Gross, who were the 2 people that John mentioned in his first video that it was happening to them as well, have since turned around and said, hold on, I haven't got a clue what you're on about. And they are essentially kind of in Peter's corner. James is, I think Charles is more towards Peter, but I think he just doesn't want to get involved. I do have that video.
And honestly, it's none of my business, but I just wanted to clear everything up and say that anything John Kuckian has said about me is false. Peter Monn and my communication never was sexual in any capacity from either party.
If it's not uploaded, if it's not still live, I will put the clip in here. But I do have it downloaded, where he basically says, whatever John said, Peter has never said anything like that towards me or anything. He was smiling through the first video, and in the second video, after he read out the messages from Instagram, he started laughing. When you talk about a topic like this, one thing you do not do is laugh. This is a topic that I hold very dear to me, and there are very different reasons. I could go into them, but I'm not going to. But let's just say this is a area of police and criminal life that I've investigated a lot in. I've looked into a lot, and I have a lot of research on this topic. And for him to treat it as light as he did, and he's saying, you know, it's just the way things have happened to me in the past, and this is the way I handle it. The people that I know that have been through shit like this don't laugh when they talk about it. At all. In any way. And I know several people that have gone through this as a child, and not one of them has laughed about it, ever. And for him to say, oh, I've been through stuff and I just laugh because it's how I handle it. No. You were laughing because you were thinking, I'm going to get this guy, everybody's going to hate him. No, everybody ended up hating you. He's saying people are misrepresenting him, that he's watching these videos and he's like, I never said that, I never did that. He's like, no, John, we're just going off what you have said and what you have done. You said that the Tumblr had questionable content. Well, if Peter's Tumblr had questionable content on, so did yours. And not only that, is, in all fairness, when it comes to the pictures, because you didn't show the full pictures, we can't back search those pictures, which is one of the reasons why you did it. Because if we'd have back searched the pictures, we'd have then probably found out that the person in the pictures is an adult. A lot of people don't look their age. John doesn't look his age. I don't look my age. You can look like you're 16, 17 when you're in your 20s. I've heard several people turn around to John and say, well, you look like you're 17 but you're 22. Also, he plays the victim card a lot by saying, you know, things have happened to me in the past. That may be true. But that doesn't give you the right to ruin somebody's life with no evidence to back you up. A person who has been through that, a person who has helped children that have been through that, and for you to sully his name because he did a video on you is petty AF. And if I ever saw John in person, which I hope I don't, I would tell him this to his face, that what he has done is make British YouTubers look like trash. Just because he has it in his head that this is happening doesn't mean that it's true. Now, there is the suspicion that there is something going on that we aren't aware of. Something's not quite right with John himself. I don't know if that's true. I have heard that he's apparently on disability here in the UK for mental illness. And if that is true, then I am sorry, John, that you're going through a mental illness. But even going through mental illness, and this is coming from somebody with a mental illness, it is not right for you to say this about somebody just because you want to, or you think that this is true, when it isn't true. Your evidence is biased, doctored, and anybody who believes otherwise is seriously lying to themselves. You need to protect your own name. If you have quantifiable evidence, and it's evidence that can, those messages, if they're off Instagram, Instagram can pull them. And we can look into where they come from. If they're off text messages, the phone company can pull them. Now, not all that is, I really, really, really doubt that Peter is really going to be harassing you when he's a married man, happily married man, with And Peter, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but his husband's a lot better looking than you are, John. Sorry. Don't worry, Peter, I'm not after your husband. I've got my own. He's downstairs. Also, there's the whole fact that he'd said that he for the tea knew that Thomas Halbert was grooming people. Now, considering that Thomas Halbert has vehemently denied this and has done a video on this and so has he for the tea, I don't believe this. Now, what happened was, if I can find the video from Martin, I will link that up in the iCard if I haven't already. Here for the tea basically got a message from somebody saying that another person, who she didn't name, was grooming them, was, sending them messages. Now, whether or not this is Thomas Halbert or not, we don't know. But she says she received this information, but there was no evidence shown, there was no proof shown. There was no backtrackable evidence at all. And she told John, and then John turned around and blew it all out of proportion. Now, if Sam had evidence, then she could have gone to the authorities, but she didn't have evidence. She just got a message of somebody saying, somebody's messaging me and I don't know what to do. Now, we don't know if it was and Sam even says in the interview, I never saw evidence. She said it could have just been somebody trolling, which is entirely possible because John trolls people using other accounts all the time. And for him to say, oh, she knew that somebody was grooming some people and, she shouldn't be allowed to, she shouldn't have let that happen. First of all, does he actually know the definition of grooming? Because he's saying Laura Lee's been grooming him for years. What does he even mean by that? I don't think Laura Lee is going to go after somebody like John, in all honesty. And for him to basically throw this one thing out every time somebody does something he doesn't agree with makes my blood boil. So if any of the John fans have made it to this point, if you believe him, then I really feel sorry for you. The proof that John shows is questionable at best. It's non-duplicatable. It is non-backupable. And by that I mean, not even a word, but by that I mean it's not something that can be backed up using Tumblr's backdoor or Instagram's backdoor or phone, your phone company. He doesn't have any conscious thought of this is wrong to do, this is wrong to do, oops, what have I done, type of thing. At the end of the day, you have to, when it comes to things, especially allegations this serious, look at the entirety of evidence. That's not evidence, and that's coming from somebody who knows what evidence is. You show me printouts from your phone provider. You show me on a computer screen dates and times and the accounts, then I might believe you. But apparently this information is out there, but yet John's the only one that's got these messages. Even though there are other channels. Also, he keeps carping on that he's the biggest drama channel. Drama alert? I'm the biggest drama channel. No, Drama Alert's the biggest drama channel. And to say the fact that John's like, I've been getting victimised and people are doing these videos on me and they're saying things that aren't true. It's like, no, we're just saying what you've already put out there, John. If you don't believe us, go and check. The information we're providing is out there. What you saying that Peter had on his Tumblr, even just throwing out your question of whether people are of age or not, the fact that you saying he's got suggestive content next to children, so have you. Show us dates and times for these messages. Instead of just going like this, but where we can't say the date, just the time, we need the date as well, we need the account. You tell us, you back it up that it's the correct accounts. Because none of us believe you. At all. You have a reputation for faking shit. And we aren't taking it. End of. So, if you believe John, we're beside you. And John is probably going to have a bad year this year. And I really just hope he gets the help that he needs. But I think he's probably gone too far. In fact, I'd pretty much say for certain he's gone too far. Right. That's it for this video. Another long one. But like I said, this is the last month I'll be getting paid. So if you wouldn't mind, and I hate doing this, first time I've ever done this, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I will see you on Friday, because this is going up Wednesday, for a video on the Josh show, which I'm going to record in a minute. And I will see you then, and I will be live streaming over the weekend as usual. Stay safe, be good, have fun, and I will see you soon.